Dr. Julius Kimani as well as Dr. Jane Kimani as we get into this very important conversation. And perhaps the easiest way to do it, as though we are family, is to have this very important conversation. And Dr. we start with you, the essence of a family during the festivities, and perhaps the essence of family all through.
You see, one thing I'll say, we all come from a family. Whether we are alone, you know, there are people we can call orphans. They have no parents. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they started from a family. And so we cannot ignore the importance of a family. And family, I would say, it is one thing that gives us strength because we have something to run back to. That's why you find, even in most of the times when you're making our own introductions, we start with the name of our family. And there are people who actually, their strength, you find they get their strength by just saying where they're coming from. And therefore, in this season of festivities, the key thing is about family coming together. It is about the unity of a family. It is about restoring, you know, broken bridges, because sometimes people have been far away for a long time. And it is time to come back together and just review how everybody is doing. You know, sometimes it takes a lot of, you know, many people have gone to different places. And so Christmas is a season where people come back and you're just finding out how is everybody. Physically, you meet, because our our phones have made it so easy to meet far. Yeah. From far. But now you are seeing that person you haven't seen in 1 year, in 2 years. So it is so important just to look at this time and place a very, very high value on it. Yes. Yes,
to count the times, to count the blessings, to look at the milestones as family. Just how important?
I think it's important to look back and appreciate people while they're still alive, and appreciate the journey, because, you know, every season, talking of the end of the year, it means there's been a whole journey and everybody has gone through their journey. Yeah. And so looking at the journeys, it's important to have time to appreciate God together, appreciate each other, and celebrate the victories together. So those should be seasons of celebrating victories together. Battles won, journeys traveled, journey to za maisha. Perhaps a child has done class 8, is joining Form 1, it's a new milestone. Somebody has joined university. So they need the family, because for us as African, our families are very core. They're very core essence of our being. We cannot subtract ourselves from the essence of the family. And so for most families, I won't say all, but for most families, that is a pillar. And when and if that family is a pillar, there is need for the family to be together.
Right. Are we losing this culture? Because I'll tell you, Dr. Back then, really, for us, it was a big deal. It was extended. It was, by now, I would have received phone calls. Unachanga ngapi, tunanunua nini, tunafanya nini. I think it's just yesterday night that my mom asked, so kuna mchoro gani for Christmas? You know, casually. True. Casually, as though, kama una form, unaweza pitia hapa home and everything. Have we lost that culture of embracing family in these very times, somehow? Or is it ebbing away with time?
I would say yes. And at the same time, I would say no. A bigger yes, a smaller no. There are people who are still maintaining that unity of a family. But if you look around, a lot of people have ignored that aspect of coming back together. And I would say it is all about the new generation. You find our parents had an ability of bringing people back together. They want to call their sons, they want to call their daughters, they want to call each other. Even they reach out, they would walk. I look, for example, at our family, let's say like on our mom's side. Yeah. They would look for each other. The sisters would look for each other and they're like, let us bring our kids together. But with the new generation, you find people are becoming more and more independent. Yeah. You want to do your own thing. Actually, friendship with other people is more key than actually family, which is a scary thing, because when you go through issues, the first person we usually think of is my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad. And when we lose that, then we have lost a very important part. And so, yes, we are losing that cohesiveness that has always been in the family, and we need to revive that back, because our future generations need to know where they've come from. We are getting people who are meeting during Christmas, And by the time they're coming together for festivities, you find maybe a young man is bringing the girlfriend home. And they shock the parents because they're like, this is your cousin.
Yeah.
This is your relative. Simply because there has not been that unity or connectivity with other family members, cousins, aunties, uncles, and all that. So I think there is a big part of it, especially in the cities, where that essence has been lost.
Do we need to redefine what family is? Dr. says a very important thing, that sometimes we find comfort in hanging around with friends and not family. And so maybe these friends then become family. So should we start by defining just what family is?
Yeah, you know, at times I will totally accept. Huh? There are people who will be closer than who you call family. And it also depends on, is this your birth family? Or is it your adopted family? Or is it the family that you're married to? Because there are three. You could be adopted into a family and you don't flow. You could be married into a family that didn't accept you, and with time you feel like I have got better friends than them a million times. So I would rather spend time with people who appreciate me. But you find the fabric of the bad family. The problem that happens is at times there is a lot of unforgiveness and bitterness among families, by the way. And that's what is breaking the fabric. And a lot of families are lacking the mothers who bring people together. Because that's not the work of fathers, it's the work of mothers. Okay. And you find we've got a generation of mothers also who have got their favorites. And they've been their favorites through the year. Yeah. So Christmas, why do you need me? Just for the image? And that's the question a lot of people are having. Yeah. Is it for the image? Because we are having a people who are defined by how much money does this one give me? Ulinijengea nyumba, ulinifanyia nini? Okay. This son has been at home with his children. And they forget that that one who has been around in the village is one who ensures that your cows are healthy. The one who is a doctor in the city only sends money, and money cannot do everything. So everybody has their essence. So I believe either it should be a time of healing for families, or you find people finding more comfort with friends who accept them rather than families who despise them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. And you speak of technology to a large extent, and really when you communicate and you look at the expenses and the difficulties that come along with life, you see no essence of having to travel from abroad all the way home just because you want to spend time with family. And sometimes we ask ourselves, what are the timelines of the festivities when we're talking about family? Is this one day of the New Year's, or is it this one day of the 25th of December when we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, or just the entire season? Because initially we could almost do the entire seasons. Today is that one day you wake up, you come home, mnapika ile mnapika jioni, you're driving back to your destination.
I think one thing also, our economic lives or situations have made it harder for people to have those serious festivities as they used to do. Yeah. We realize, in fact, I was talking to somebody yesterday from UK, and they were saying life is really hard there. And so maybe that person is being expected to come back to Kenya. And the financial expectation of that person is very high. And they also want to present. They are afraid to come, but when they come, they want to present that they are doing well. Everybody who goes, for example, abroad, or even somebody who is in the city now, would be expected by the time they land up country that they are the ones who are financing almost everything. And so it has become a scary thing for some people to go actually up country. So that one day, that's why you're finding people are just landing, for example, on 25th, they hang around, they eat together, because if they spend more than 2 or 3 days, their finances will be almost zero. So I think we need to relook at the whole issue and work on relationships more than the money aspect. Because when you are valid, as you were saying, there are people who, when they are going up country, the one parent will celebrate the one who has money, and the other one who lives around there is actually not celebrating. He's not being sent around. Naambiwa wewe enda uoshe gari ya ndugu yako, enda utoe vitu kwa boot. So, and that person eventually steps into an area after the festivities where they actually depress the whole year, because they realize that they were not the most important people in that time. So I would say these festivities or the season should actually be geared towards working on building better personal relationship rather than looking at just the finances only.
Okay.
It is unfortunate it may not be so, but I wish everybody would begin to look at how are you, my brother, minus the money aspect.
And are we just trying to find excuses? And true, the economic times are tough. But I'd want to assume even in those days, in that space, defined in that context, the economic times were as well as difficult. But people could plan. And we, you know, from this December, you know very well that the next December is coming, and then by then you have decided we'll be going to so-and-so's, we'll be contributing this amount of money, such that things were so easy. So are we just trying to hide ourselves in excuses?
Let me say something, Linda. It is true. In every generation, it has had its hardships. And in every hardship is about planning, because people go for a holiday. Not because you have extra money, but because you save for it. And so this also being a holiday, the essence remains the same. However, two things detoured this. Number one, the social media. You talk to your mom or your dad or your brothers, you're in the same WhatsApp group, you have everything happening, you're up to date. Some while back, while that was not with us, we wanted to go and catch up. But now you catch up, you've seen the latest photos, we are together yet afar. So being a good thing, it has also played its own role in physically separating people because they feel like they have an emotional connection. Number two, people go home, even children, you know, your son one day will come back to you. After campus or when they go to campus, they come home to memories. They come home to memories. The question is, how much have the parents invested in creating memories for their children? We have a generation that's so busy. They wake up very early, they go to work, they go for business, home very late. Most children have known their nannies to have taken care of them. Actually, their memories are with their nannies. There was no memory trace, really, apart from once or twice. With the parents, they were absentee parents, they were after the money. And they thought, we need the money to bring you up better than you were brought up. And when the time comes when they need these children back, they realize the children don't have any connection. Why? Because they didn't give them the memories. And again, I repeat, children will always come back home to memories. There is no memory. And at times, some of them will even be sad that the house help left. So-and-so alinilea vizuri. They even want to go past by her home and say hi, because that's the lounge of their memory. So I believe it's not too late. And especially for the younger parents who are listening, let them create memories. Because right now, Linda, apart from our parents, we're having people who are parents now, our generation and slightly older, who have clearly not been, and even younger, your generation, who have not been there for their children. They just had to reprimand to Cain, like the father is known, all the wrongs you've done, daddy is coming. But have they gone out? Have they had time together? Have they laughed together? Have they done this together? Have you listened to me? Have I listened to you? Those are the memories that will bring me from US, from Russia, any corner of the world. That's what pulls and attracts people.
And you know, I don't want to say that I am a terrible parent, but it's just the other day that I was talking to a friend of mine and telling them, you know what, I weep for my little boy because he does not have the moments that I did in terms of going to church for the Christmas carols. Perhaps he does not know much about Christmas carols because maybe it is not taught so much. He was telling me the other day, in the other school, we used to be taught Christmas carols, but on this one, or in this one, we have not been taught any. And I thought, oh my goodness, my parents were doing that. We literally would sing down, you know, with a golden bell, sit down and, you know, sing the Christmas carols. So just what is stopping us from doing this? Because even beyond the money, sometimes you really have time to be home, but you barely do some of these things.
I think it is, as Linda, what you're saying, it is lack of deliberate and intentional in doing that. You know, everything, like you came here, you had a clear intention, I'm going to work. Now, when it comes to Christmas season, people have to be intentional. They have to, you're the one to rekindle those memories and decide that what I used to see my parents do it can be redone. Now, I remember like when growing up, I think 7-6 years, we would, in those eras, I think after the Moi era came in, they stopped that because there were some insecurities. But guys would wake up in the morning, I mean in the evening, at exactly 7, people would begin moving from one home, say from a church, and they would begin to moving to every home up country, and they would go singing carols. They come to the gate, they're not asking for anything, they just stand over there, you join them, they do a song, if you feel like following the procession, and it would go on all the way past midnight. And it was such a warm thing. Yeah. So those were people who sacrificed time. We are looking at ourselves today. I think we have become more selfish.
But do you think those memories really matter today? That a Christmas tree at home really matters today? That Christmas carols around?
By the way, Linda, those things matter. Do you know, like when I saw these things being put over here, I was like, this looks nice.
Yes.
That Christmas tree, for example, no matter, even if it's very small, it still brings back an aspect of this is a different season. Yeah. And I think, you know, again, I think there are some things that have become common. You know, chapati nowadays, it would be made once in probably in a year.
Yes.
So Christmas was a season where chapatis would smell everywhere. Yeah. And so it signified a different season. We need to find out and become more creative as families what can make that difference. And I'm not saying that it is dead. There are people who are going to make this season, Christmas season, to be something else.
You know, Dr. Jen speaks and it makes me feel like she's a CCTV somewhere in my house. You know? Like she really speaks to my situation as though, yes, she sees how when my little boy runs to the nanny when she's been out just for one day, you know, over the weekend, and the excitement and everything. And sometimes I ask myself, in fact, there's a time I was like, what is wrong with you? I am here, she's here, and you are running to her instead of running to me. But then again, it makes sense. This is how small my Christmas tree is today. Yeah. But then again, my memories of how we used to go with my dad and cut that Christmas, it's a cypress. I mean, and then you put, you know, all these decorations, sometimes fruits and everything are still fresh. Is it a little bit too low to go to this level?
No, at least you have...
Let me speak for myself, my people.
No, at least you have something. At least you have something. Yeah.
But the beauty was in the decoration aspect.
And not only in the decoration, in the unity while decorating.
Okay, yes.
It was in the unity while decorating, because you could buy a decorated Christmas tree.
You're blowing the balloons.
But the beauty was you're contributing something. It was the center of the family creativity. Yeah. Your creativity was the balloons. Somebody else is working on ribbons. Somebody else is working on empty packages of gifts and this and the other. So it was like a picture of this is our joy, our creativity, and us. So what you need to do now is go and strip it off and begin to decorate it with your son. Yeah, because at the end of the day, he also needs to feel a part to what you have placed there. It shouldn't look like something ready-made. It has to be, yes, there, but by the lightings, let him know, let the two of you, there is a moment of bonding.
Right.
That was a season of bonding. The fact that you still remember you'd go with your dad to get the cypress plant, come and hang the fruits, do this, is because you bonded, it created a memory. Yeah. So if you just buy and place it there, has it brought a bonding? Has it created a memory?
Maybe not.
Yeah, so now you reverse your work and go now, bring the balloon, go with him and shop. Actually, it's about time, Linda. It's about creating time for this young one. Yeah. So that at least he can feel, I need to do this. I've seen Christmas trees on movies. Mommy, let's buy this. Mommy, let's buy this. Let's do this. And you come and do it together. Plus the nanny, because the nanny is equally important to him.
Very important. Very.
And that's a red flag. Okay. It's very important to him. Yeah. So as the three of you blow the balloons, that will now hit a memory.
Okay, that's interesting. So these are the traditions of family that we speak of that we have lost over time. And many more?
Those are some of the things. Coming together to prepare. You know, being sent to the shopping to go buy this and that. Created a lot of being sent to invite so and so. You know, nowadays our invite is somebody can sit down and send one blank message. I mean, one message to like 1,000 people. Yeah. But before you'd be sent out and told, go tell your aunt on this particular day we're inviting them home. Yeah. And go tell so and so to prepare for us maybe 2-3 kgs of meat. Do this. And those sending, everybody was somehow involved. And I think it is not hard. In fact, Christmas is not about amount of money. It is about just creating moments together, doing some things that you've not done before. Like sometimes what we do in our place on Christmas Day, it is not the expense. But waking up in the morning and just knowing everybody is involved in making breakfast. That makes it special.
Right.
I also want to challenge that I think churches, they also need to revive.
I agree.
Revive.
I agree.
Yeah.
I remember on 24th
Yes.
evening.
The Keshas.
The Keshas. I know guys would go to church in the evening. You know it will be, there's nothing to eat in that
fact,
church.
those are the only times we were allowed out at night.
Late night.
Yes.
Narudi Satan.
The only times. 365 days.
True. I think the services were such elaborate.
Yeah.
The carols were done. I mean, there would be numbers. You know, people have prepared. Like growing up in the Catholic Church, we would start preparing. I was in the choir. We would begin preparing Christmas carols in October. Then on 24th, it is the singing of the Christmas carols. Right. People would feel like they have been fed with songs. After that, you know, everybody's just outside there with their candles and everything, talking about what they'll do tomorrow. Actually, 25th was it was a mellow, yes. But 24th was a big thing. So I think we also need to take, and it is a responsibility of the church, to take this step and make that day, especially the eve of Christmas, much more elaborate, so that we don't lose out on the essence of Christ.
All right.
Yes.
You know, we've lost it even on the question of food, and I'm sorry I'm mentioning food, but it's a reality. Today, the amount of food, the foods that we make at home is totally different. Perhaps it's you know, today let's go easy on chapati, or let's just do chapati and overlook the rice. Just how important was that aspect when, you know, everything and anything was placed on the table and everyone was busy preparing these foods. Mtu mwingine anachagua ndengu huko, mwingine anakata cabbage, mwingine anapika chapati. The mornings were crazy.
And it was a synergy. It was a synergy. It was a joy in unity. It was a memory of unity. It was the power of what you can do best, being appreciated by everybody. There was somebody who was good at pilau, and everybody would appreciate their pilau. Perhaps have not been appreciated the whole year. Yeah. There's somebody who was just good with their chicken. Wengine ni mbuzi. So it was the power, it was a combined effort. And I believe food on itself is a love language. Especially when demonstrated the right way and when effort has been put into it. Yeah. Because you can go into the fridge and warm, you put it in the microwave and feed people. No. But when it has been given time, you know, there is food that comes from the heart and there is food that comes from the hands. Yeah. And that time food and the cooking would come from the heart. I would see my mom going to buy unga, shavashi. Oh my goodness. And that was not like any other. Yeah. It was like not any other packet. Yeah. No. We've never seen like, and it is the same. But you see the love, the energy, the excitement put into it. And I believe there is something we can still do with our families today. They may say yes, they've eaten all these things. But right now, put them together. Tell them, bring your best. Cook your best. Begin to work on your best. And as Dr. was saying, when it comes to churches, like for us, what we do, they'll always look forward to my cake. I bake for everybody. Oh, I bring a big cake here. Oh. This year he's baking. I'm baking
for the church.
Oh, yeah. And we do a lot of cakes. Yeah. And so it's like there are people will come with the eggs home. There's somebody who will say, I need to buy the unga. Whether they do it or not, we'll still bring it is the essence of enjoying something together on 24th. So I believe there's still something that can taste different based on the love and based on the season.
Okay, maybe it was easy back then, and before we even come to the aspect of how we strike a balance, you know, with friendship with the people you've met along the way, with the families that you formed on the other side. Maybe it was much easier back then because perhaps you realized that maybe you were married here and your home is just the other side. Yeah. And so it is easy to just keep that connection. But today, we are married worlds apart. And sometimes family, you know, fall on this very point because then Dr. Jane says we have to be at my homes, you know, this time around. You say, no, you don't like my mother. We have to be on the other side. How do we strike a balance as to that?
I think some of those traditions are the ones that are also making it hard for some people to even enjoy the Christmas season. Because probably the man, as you've said, he has said we are spending in our place. And for the last 3-4 years, it's been so. And the woman is feeling, we've never gone to our place. And so every time they go to the man's place, this woman is actually feeling, I'm actually oppressed. And so there is no joy in her. And I usually say the woman is is it the thermostat or the thermometer? Thermostat. The thermostat, it keeps the environment either very hot or very cold. Now, so when you have a grumpy woman who has gone for Christmas to a place that she doesn't like anymore, it creates a coldness even to the man, to the children, because she's not there enjoying. Or the vice versa. Maybe the man has been going to the woman's place or the wife's place throughout. And so he goes there. Of course, most men are not as grumpy. They don't have emotional things. But it can reach a place where you have tensions. Or probably there are disagreements between two of you or even with other family members. And that brings a very hard moment. And that's why we say we need to have some serious agreements on that. If you have to go to visit a place, whether you have decided that you're going to visit this side of the family and it has been so, then make sure that, especially because of the children, that the memories remain right. That nobody, one way I think nowadays we are too liberal, that maybe as Dr. Julius, I will say I'm not happy with this, and I can even throw a tantrum on that particular day, and people can all see. But before you'd find, if it is the men or the women, there is this thing of self-control. You would not know anything wrong that is happening. But now you can actually tell it. So we have to reach a place also as individuals, because of the memory and also because of respecting the season. If sincerely it has come that you have to visit on the other side, then choose in your heart to have the right attitude. And that will make a difference. And also, if you have to do anything, these are times where you do a lot of sacrifice. I can imagine traveling from here to coast 5 hours, and you're traveling a journey that you don't want to take, and you have the wrong attitude. It will make that moment to be awful. So remember the children, because today when I think about Christmas, many years growing up, I don't even remember my aunts, my uncles. I remember the way we were just hanging around. They're not about even much of the food, but the play. So if you can create those memories and ignore some of the things and have the right attitude.
Attitude, perhaps our take home. But even still, Dr. to you, as we think of how to strike a balance, what will be your take home?
My take home is one, when the parents know they need you there, and especially I'm talking to the in-law parents, let them be genuine, because a lot of the reasons why you find the people married into that family will not want to go is because they've been treated wrong the whole year. And it will be so evident that you're a stranger in this family. And it brings more problems, because after that, when you talk perhaps to your wife, it could be the wife's family, or to your husband, if it is to your husband's family, they will cover them up. They do not. So I believe the first thing that needs to be there is to sort out issues. Don't cover them up, especially for women. They're not good with cover-ups. And if they say this thing, I've been having a wound because of this, I don't like the way they treat me, listen and do something about it. Then your attitude will be absolutely very right. Because at times, watu wengine, they martyr themselves. I need to go there, but I feel like I'm dying. Because this woman will look at me, these eyes, and there are things she told me. Talking of forgiveness, very important. But I keep saying this, especially for the mothers who are in-laws, they need to create an environment that condones even the children married into that family equally. And they should stop cold wars. Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, time is not on our side. We're being told to step out of this space, but I think we have something to take home, and we